Good morning and welcome to Brews to Brews. Today I'm making another Brewdog special. B-sides, Deaf Mermaid. I don't know where they get their names from, but I was going through my list of leftovers that I keep whenever I go to the brew shop. And before I go, I'll look through this list and do a quick search through the Brewdog recipe list, and I've got this, that and the other. I'll make a brew that kind of suits those requirements. Anyways, I was after a light pale ale or something for summer, and this is it. B-sides, Deaf Mermaid. So very, very simple malt bill today. 5.5 kilos of pale malt, and as usual I've crossed everything out and adjusted it from 20 litres to 25 litres, so you get your extra 5 litres for nothing pretty much for the effort put in. So yeah, we'll get our 5.5 kilos of pale malt in. So the hop bill is also quite straightforward today. We'll go over that later in the video, but overall this is going to be a pretty cruisy brew, I think. Most importantly, I've got to remember to keep this at 65 degrees for 90 minutes. 90 minutes so that it's a very nice light pale ale. It won't have a lot of body to it. It'll be a very easy drinking summer beverage. There's my first 2.5 kilos. Another 2.5 kilos. So the water content I've started with today was 35 litres. That should come down to about 25. I may have to boil it for a little while to get it down to the 25 litre-ish mark before adding my hops. And my temperature gauge seems to be working today, which is fantastic. Last few brews I've been doing, it's been on and off, but at the same time it's quite often doing fine when I first go to use it. So who knows, it's early in the day, it could go to shit again, in which case I'll be relying on my manual thermometer. Now, if you can see the label on this bag, ignore it. It's not Munich, it's still pale malt. I just had to reuse a bag that I had because I couldn't get the whole 5.5 kilos into the measuring jugs. So, there's my 5.5 kilos of pale malt. Give that a really good stir, make sure all that malt comes into contact with the water. 90 minutes. Throughout that 90 minutes it will stay at 65 degrees, and I will come and stir it probably 4 times just to make sure that the temperature is staying nice and even throughout the mash and we don't get any hot or cold spots, so that we end up hitting our original gravity targets. My current method of sparging my wort is fill up 5 litres, dump the rest into the cube, and then rotate these 5 litres in and out. So chuck that guy back in there, tap back on, and big sparge. So this is called batch sparging. I'm not actually adding more water to the mix. I'm just using the heated wort to do the sparging for me. And I'll do this 5 times at the moment. That's my agreed amount with myself. Do it 5 times. Done my batch sparge 5 times. I've left it for a few minutes for the grains to really drain themselves out as much as possible. Sometimes it just feels a bit pointless doing it like that, but typically you end up with a whole bunch of wort in the bottom of the drainer anyway. So, spent grains, get out. Always being careful to pull the bag up as much as possible so you get a nice little... And I just spilt water on my timer again. No matter. Whoops, and I just got the bloody... Oh, I'm making a real mess today. Nothing unusual. Me making a mess. It's kind of standard. It's kind of standard for everybody when it comes to homebrew, I think. Tie that up. I'll let this drain for the duration of the hop boil. So we've been on the boil for a couple of hours now, actually, because I overshot my liquid. Must be getting a lot out of my grains. Anyways, we're down to about the 28 litre mark now, so we're ready to chuck the hops in because I want my 25. So, hops, 1 hour, Chinook 16 grams. At the end, it's a combination of Amarillo 47 grams, Chinook 22 grams. It called for 31, but I only had 22 left, so that's what we're doing. And I didn't have any mosaic. I don't know how I missed that on the recipe when I went to the shop, but I did. So I looked up my replacement guide, and we're going to split the 47 down the middle with Citra and Galaxy to get similar flavour profiles. And they're going in at the end, so it's quite a big batch of hops there for the end. There's no middle, so it's just bittering hops and aroma, or sorry, bittering and flavour. And then we'll do some dry hopping once it's been going for a few days. Get a good dip going, make sure they're all nice and wet, and we're good. So 1 hour from now we'll go flame out, add these guys for 10 minutes, and happy days. We'll get a whirlpool going and into the no chill cube and blah 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 blah. Hasn't been quite 24 hours, but she's ready to go. 21.6 degrees inside there, and that'll be good. Good place to start. Everything's been sanitised. Aerate the wort through the sifter, just for good measure. We'll chuck him in, get rid of that first bit because it might have been undiluted. Ooh, a bit of sediment popping out already. Alright, let's try that again. Okay, that's going to be like 1054. Made bugger all difference. Give it a shake, make sure there's no air in there, but it's just been aerated, so who knows? Who knows? Alright, I'm going to call that 1054 by the time you take into the bubbles into account. So back in he goes. That's all done. 1054 is our starting gravity. What's today? It's the 24th, day before Christmas. Original gravity was 1054 at 21 degrees C. I want it to ferment at 19. 21 will allow the yeast to get going. In this case, the USA 05 yeast. And now misplaced my scissors. Tink tink tink, get in there, little yeasties. Cool. So if that's anything like this, yesterday I put this on. About 20 hours later, it's gone from 21 degrees down to 19, which is perfect. Where's my lid? There's my lid. And this should do the same. So I've just dry hopped my B-Sides Def Mermaid, thinking that it was my 5 AM Saint. That's my 5 AM Saint right there. Whoops. So my light pale ale is going to have all sorts of potential flavours coming out of it. I don't know what those flavours are going to be as yet. I'm pretty still new to the whole dry hopping thing, but having a read of all the different hops, I'll be able to get a rough idea, but I digress. It's going to be potentially odd, it's going to be potentially amazing. Who knows, maybe I've just found a brand new recipe that nobody's thought of before. It's going to be fantastic. Of course it's going to be fantastic. Chin up, chin up. So anyways, 5am Saint. 5am Saint will be in another video. So yeah, B-sides Deaf Mermaid. Just copped dry hops. Magnum 31 grams. Cascade 54 grams. Galaxy 16. Centennial 62.5. Amarillo 31. You didn't get to see it because it's on another video, which I may or may not edit into this later. Anyways, I've changed out the airlock because the old Crosson is going a bit wild in this fermenter. It's quite a small fermenter, it doesn't have a lot of headspace, so it does tend to do that. But I'll just swap it out every day for a nice fresh one with some nice sanitised water, just to try and keep it at bay, any nasties. So anyways, B-sides, Deaf Mermaid with 5am Saint dry hopping. We'll see how it turns out.